Hello and welcome to Natural Health and Astrology. We are on episode 29. I am Lori Barnes. I'm an astrologer and psychotherapist, and I co-host this show with Annabelle Fraser, and we talk about the moon phases. Well, actually the full moon and the new moon phases. And today we're going to talk about the Aries new moon. Before we get started, I'm going to let Annabelle introduce herself. So turning it over to you.
Hi everyone, I'm Annabelle Fraser and I am a health coach and naturopath, and I have a huge passion for essential oils for physical and emotional well-being, and I specialize a lot also in gut health, particularly women's gut health. So Laurie and I teamed up to bring these episodes to you, and I'm learning a lot from her, and I'm sure you will too.
Okay. So today we're going to talk about the upcoming Aries new moon, and I'm going to give you the dates and times. The new moon is Friday, April 1st, unless you're in the US West Coast, and then it's going to happen at the very, very end of the day, Thursday night, late Thursday night around 11:24 p.m. on March the 31st. That's Thursday in the US. And then if you're on the East Coast, it'll be super early in the morning, Friday the 1st at 2:24 a.m. And if you're in Rome, Italy, where we are, it'll be at 8:24 a.m. in the morning on Friday. And this is the first new moon since the equinox. And so we're in the middle of a season change. And I think this is a really exciting new moon. It's a very different vibe than what we were talking about in March, where we had a lot of the dreamy, visionary Pisces energy going on. We're moving into this Aries season. The sun's already in Aries, and we're going to have the moon, because the sun and the moon will be in the same sign. That's what the new moon is, and Mercury. So we have a lot of Aries energy going on, and then a lot of Aquarius energy going on. And what that means is that we have these two signs that are both active signs as opposed to receptive signs. And so there's just a lot of energy around this new moon. And like I was saying before, it's the first new moon since the equinox. And the equinox is the time of the year where we have the time change, and it's the beginning of the astrological new year. And it's the equal days and nights, and for each hemisphere, we're in the northern hemisphere, so we're getting ready for spring, and it's like when we start planting seeds, and it's the rebirth and new growth and all those exciting things. If you're in the southern hemisphere, you're also changing seasons, and you're stepping out of the heat and into the cooler fall. So both of these hemispheres are experiencing this pivot, this change in seasons. So it's an exciting time. You can either be putting away your summer clothes or getting them out. And so I talked about that a little bit in my blog, because I don't want to forget about the southern hemisphere. I think in the past that I've been more focused on the northern. Now I have friends in South Africa and in Australia, and so I just want to recognize that if we're talking about the world, that there are these two hemispheres who are going through opposite seasons at the same time. So that's interesting. Okay, so Aries new moon. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, so it is the beginning of the astrological year. And Aries is a sign that has to do with facing up your challenges. It's a warrior sign. It is the sign of the warrior. And it's about walking your path and facing up challenges and doing things that require energy. Aries has a lot of energies. It represents youth. It's the beginning of year, the season. And so it's full of energy. And the reason why I brought up Aquarius before is because not every year do we have the same lineup of all the other planets. And I do like to look at the whole energy signature of a new moon or a full moon when we're doing the full moon videos, because it says a lot about the particular year, right? There's an Aries new moon every year, but not every year does the Aries new moon have all the planets in these other positions. So when we look at the energetic signature of this new moon, It's very much about independence and finding your own path, which is why the theme of this new moon is pioneer your path. Pioneer your path. Because both Aries and Aquarius have keyword meanings of independence and freedom and following your path, not what somebody else wants you to do and not doing what you think other people want you to do. It's to really put those things to the side and really be honest with yourself, true to yourself, walk your own path, find your own way, walk to the beat of your own drum. And that can be hard for some people to do, and it can be very easy for other people to do because we are not all the same. We all have different charts, we all live different lives. So what I'm talking about is the quality of the energy that's in the air on this new moon, and that this is a really good time for you to be self-focused. Now, there's always the consideration when we're talking about Aries and Libra, which is the opposite sign of Aries, because they represent the two ends of selfishness and selflessness. And if you've been listening to us for a while, anytime we get to the Libra or Aries moon phase, that's the quality that I always bring up and ask you to think about, where do you fall on this line? Generally speaking, if you were kind of like averaging the sum of how you live your life throughout the year, do you tend to be more selfish, self-focused, or do you tend to be more selfless and other focused? And of course, we want to have a good balance of both. You don't want to be always focused on others, and you don't want to be always focused on yourself. What you want to try to do is live a life that's more in the balance, where you're paying attention to others and focusing on others when you should be. And I'm not going to define when that is. That's something that each individual has to know. And then, when are you doing balanced selfishness? And selfish is probably not the right word. I would rather use self-focused or even self-care.
Is that the Aries energy then?
The Aries,
self-focused.
Yes. The Aries side of it is,
and the other way is the Libra.
Exactly. And we do need both, right? But we don't want to live on one extreme end or the other. There may be periods of time when you have to go there. Like, I know you're a mom and you have kids, so there may be times when you have a sick child at home, and all of a sudden you have to drop everything else and you have to like focus only on taking care of that child. That makes sense. However, if you live your whole life where I'm only focused on my child or my job or my partner or my whatever it is, then you're not really balanced. And this is the message that I'm always actually trying to send, is about the balance. Because there are times when you really do need to focus on yourself. If you don't take care of your individual self, then you're not going to be in the best condition to take care of others when the time comes for that to happen. Definitely. Right?
Now, so this is a good time to take that opportunity to focus on ourselves, is what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Okay. So.
Exactly. So in that context, when we're talking about the Aries new moon, that is exactly what this new moon is about, is to be self-focused. This is a really great time to do things for yourself, things that you want to do. And if nobody else in your family, friends, social network, they don't want to do it, then do it without them. Either do it by yourself or find others who want to do that same thing as you. But this is a very independent, individual, self-focused time. And it's a new moon. New moons are about new beginnings or new phases of things, starting things, planting your garden, you could say, whether it's literally or physically or both. This is a time to really focus on your needs, your wants, your goals. And so I would definitely recommend this weekend, because it's really cool when a new moon falls on a Friday. That gives you the whole weekend to really work with this new moon energy. New moons in particular, it's important to start your new moon rituals in the new moon phase, not before. So that's why I give the times of day, so that you know when to start. Full moons, I feel like you can start a little before, during, or after, because it's the peak, the middle of a moon cycle. New moons are the beginning of the cycle. And if you do anything before the actual new moon phase, you're actually in the end of the cycle. And that's why it's important to wait, because you're kind of like doing things at the end of the cycle instead of working with the beginning of a cycle. So, and this cycle has that extra importance of being the first sign of the zodiac. So it's the beginning of the astrological new year. There were cultures that actually did their new year at this time of the year and not in January. So there's a lot of significance to the new moon, new beginning. It really is that youthful part of the zodiac. So I know that there's got to be some great essential oils to help us with our focusing on ourselves, our self-care, who we are, what we want to do.
Yeah, it's actually a blend that I've chosen for today based on your the theme, Laurie, that you've highlighted. It relates a lot to something that you haven't yet mentioned, so you can chip in. I know that you wanted to talk about this, about the Aries being the sign of the warrior, and how, when you are focusing on what you want, it's also about, even if it's different from others, you're kind of trying to be independent and focus on feeling free and going after what you want. And so there's kind of, as with everything, there's a balance, isn't there? So there's the part of the self-care, and then there's the activities, as you said, if people don't want to do that particular thing with you, do it on your own, but make sure that you're really taking advantage of this energy and doing what is important to you. And that kind of warrior energy is really reflected in the On Guard blend that doTERRA do, which is it's a protective blend on lots of levels. So not a warrior in terms of necessarily fighting, but defending ourselves in a healthy way. So on a physical level, it actually helps us defend ourselves from viruses and bacteria and mold, all of those kinds of external agents that can come in and attack our immune system. So it helps strengthen our immune system against those aggressors, let's say. And also on an emotional level, it helps strengthen our sense of self. So this oil I thought was really relevant for this theme, because it's just one that kind of strengthens you from the inside out, and helps you kind of say no more and build healthier, stronger boundaries, and just helping you live more with in integrity with your true self, which really kind of gives the idea of that warrior and that kind of independence and that personal freedom from whatever other people might be thinking. I'm just going to do what's right for me. So yeah. This on guard blend is it's actually got a very beautiful Christmassy smell to it, because it's got lots of lovely warming oils like cinnamon and clove, and it's got wild orange in there, and so many lovely oils. I adore it. And when you use these oils to help you on an emotional level, diffusing them in a cold water diffuser is an excellent way to do that. At the same time, you're getting all of those immune strengthening benefits, which are always helpful. And also when we're looking at change of seasons too, this is often a time when our immune system is a little bit weaker, and we tend to pick up colds and things like that, as the weather changes and days get longer and everything. So it's really going to be a great oil to help us on lots of levels. That would be the main way that I would recommend using this oil.
Great. I love how it's warming, and Aries is a fire sign of the fire element, which is why I'm wearing red, and I have my red moon. So yeah, it's very much in line, I think, with the energy of Aries. And Aries is the warrior, absolutely. That's one of its the keywords of Aries. And when you think about a warrior, I think most people think about battles and and going into war, and whether it's the Marvel characters or a documentary or real life news these days. But the warriors always have their gear, right? Even going back to ancient times when it was maybe a sword or a spear and or a shield, having that protection it goes hand in hand with warriors. Warriors do tend to go into battle with their gear, and like I kind of, when you were talking, that's what I was imagining, that this is a
like a shield.
Yeah, like a shield. It's the equipment. That's the word I'm looking for, because we're all warriors, and we may not be out fighting bloody battles with weapons and hurting other people. We are on our own hero's journey. If you study mythology, or the hero's journey is a pretty well-known way of talking about how we go out on our journey and we experience challenges and how we overcome them, and that is our life. And some people really seek out the adventure, the journey. They want the experience. They want to achieve goals. They want to climb their metaphorical mountain. And there's others who may be less inclined to grab their equipment and go out gung-ho into battle. I think battles still come to all of us. Like I've never met a person who smoothly went through life without any difficulties, right? But I think that what Aries energy represents is the person who does proactively go out and seek to achieve something. They set a goal and they go and they do it. And so where we find Aries in your chart is going to show you where you might be wanting to go out on that adventure, and to go out and fight for something you believe in, fight for something that you want, and willing to put in the effort and the energy. We all have Aries somewhere in our chart. Some of us have planets in the sign of Aries, which is going to make it more prominent, and others may not have any planets in the sign of Aries, and maybe not as prominent, but yet Aries is still in a place in your chart. And that's too much information for me to go into in this video, but I will talk more about that in the blog for how to find out where Aries is in your chart. And of course, I do consultations to talk about an individual's chart. And I do have a quote, because I'm doing quotes now. I love my quotes. And I think that this is really, I'm going to start with the person who might best represent the warrior persona, or even an archetype these days. I mean, he's not the archetype, but he very much represents this archetype of the warrior, and that is Bruce Lee. Most people are aware of who he is. He's passed away, but he was a very well-known and high level martial artist, and became an actor. And so he's the first person that I'm going to quote. And he says, "The successful warrior is the average man with laser-like focus." So that really captures this Aries energy that we're talking about. So that's all of us. We are the average person. He said man, so I quoted him, but let's say average person. All of us are warriors. And when we have that laser-like focus, that's when we can really see progress in our lives. Okay, I have two more. And this one is from Albert Einstein, the famous mathematician, I believe. He's our physicist. Sorry, I should know better than that, but I'm pretty sure people know.
I think he's all of those things.
All of those things. Okay. Okay. So he says, "For everything that is really great and inspiring is created by the individual who can labor in freedom." Labor in freedom. And so when you're free, you have the choice to put as much effort towards things as you want. And I really like what he said. And then the last one that I have is from Stephanie Garber, and she is an author. She's a younger author of the Caraval novels. And she says, "Every person has the power to change their fate if they are brave enough to fight for what they desire more than anything." So I really love that. And I think that the really honing in on that focus, that intention, that choosing what it is that you want. You know, if you don't know what you want, any road will get you there. I think that's a famous quote by someone. But when you know what you want and then you put the energy towards it and you persevere, then you are more than likely going to achieve it. Steve Jobs had a quote, and I used it a while ago, something about he's convinced that successful people are the ones who persevere. You know, and so I think that fits in a lot too with this energy.
Yeah.
You know, when you believe that it's not if, it's when. It's inevitable if you just stay on course and decide this is what you're going to do. You know, with the caveat and disclaimer that when you set goals, you need to be sure that they're realistic goals. But that, you know, SMART goals, that's another whole webinar I could go on and on and on about, and I won't do that. I'm just going to leave it at that and give you some ideas of what to do on the new moon, and then some ideas to do for the couple of weeks in the new moon phase leading up to the next full moon. Okay, so do your new moon intentions during the new moon phase. I've already said that, but I'm just going to repeat that. I didn't mention this yet, but there is a little bit of leftover Pisces energy in the air. There's still a few planets there, which makes that nice to help with that creative vision or visionary type of thing of kind of dreaming up what you want and then taking action towards it, because it takes both, right? You have to have your vision and then you have to actually take action to achieve it. So that's just nice to have at this new moon. And so it's like, do your new moon intentions and use this creativity and then actually do something about it. But on the new moon is the time to sit down and write those intentions, to kind of capture them and make your plan. Let's see. Do something around fire, because it's a fire sign. So if lighting a candle is nice, or if you have a fire pit, light that. Cook out on the grill. Obviously, if you can, if you're someone who has compromised lungs, then that's probably not going to be you don't want to light fire, but they have these candles with batteries these days, so it looks like a candle, but it's not. So something like that, you know, or the fake fireplace video on your television. But you know, get the element of fire around you if you can. Okay, and then going on to kind of the longer the phase, is just to repeat, do something you want to do, and make sure that it's yours and it's not for someone else, or just for you, not for someone else. So here's some Aries ideas. Go on an adventure. Do anything that is physically challenging for your level, because Aries is the kind of sign that wants a challenge. Like, you want to get, if you know an Aries and you want to get them to do something, tell them that you don't think they can do it. I guarantee they're going to accept that challenge.
Really? That's so fun.
Let's see, take more time for yourself than usual. It's especially over this weekend, but then you still have this whole 2-week phase after the new moon to just do more you things than usual. And I would say, if you're one of those people who has a super busy schedule and you're always taking care of other people and considerate of other people, good for you, great. Let's honor that and take this time and maybe change your schedule up and do more things for yourself. Do things that maybe you wanted to do and never have done because you can't find anyone to do it with you. Just say, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do this and I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah, just pick one, right?
Yes, just pick one. I thought another cool thing to do is an online challenge. You know, a lot of people are doing these challenges online. And since Aries love challenges, you could sign up for one of those. Just go your own way confidently and just be all about your independence and take action towards your goals. So those are that's my advice for you for this Aries full moon.
I like that.
Yeah, new moon. I just said full moon. Aries new moon.
New moon. So when's the next full moon then? When will we be back?
That will be Saturday, April 16th, and we'll have a full moon in Libra.
It's just before Easter, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know the date of Easter, but yeah, it'll be the middle
Friday
of the
the
month.
17th.
So
Yeah.
yep.
Okay. Great.
Okay.
And get that On Guard oil out.
That's right. Go off confidently on your path. Go pioneer your path and enjoy it.
Thanks, Laurie.
Thank you. We'll see you
See
next
you
time.
soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.